Hi and welcome to our portrait tutorial. You may have taken a look at the portrait assignment and scratched your head and thought, where do I begin? Well, I'm here to help you get started. I don't have the benefit of having a person here that I can draw from life, so I hope you'll excuse me if I utilize a photo off of my screen back here on my laptop. I'm drawing a friend of mine and I got her permission to do so. And I'm going to use this subject as a way to walk you through. As you can see, I have a drawing from a photo that I've started. Now it's sort of midway through. I just wanted you to have the ability to see the drawing through different periods of time, throughout progress, without having to watch me draw for an hour or 45 minutes or whatever it would take for me to get to this point. So we're going to get back to this in a moment, but I want to show you how you might begin. And let me just flip the page and we'll start fresh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, you do not have to work with a page the size that I'm working with. This is just so that you can see a little bit better without struggling to see on the video. The first thing we're going to do is maybe identify the shape of our subject's face. Okay, now you'll be trying to do this from life, okay? Some people have rounder faces, while others are a little more squared. The friend that I'm drawing today has a wonderfully strong chin. It's very different from my little pointed chin right here, and she has a great strong chin, and so that's going to be kind of an anchoring point for my drawing. You want to look at the way that your subject's head is tilted. Is it straight on? Is it tilted a little to the right, a little to the left? Are they looking downward, upward? These are going to be very important because when drawing, you need to know if your subject is drawing up, you're going to see an upturned nose. And the mouth also follows that same sort of upturn, that curve. The chin even follows that same curvature. And the eyes. Are you noticing a pattern? If the subject looks downward, we see the nose kind of at a different type of curvature. The eyes follow that same curvature, and the chin and mouth also follow that same exact type of curvature. So it's similar in the concept of linear perspective, where everything is aligned and moving in the same direction. Okay? You can see a parallel between them if you're already familiar with linear perspective. So let's begin. I'm sorry, I will have my back turned to you, and I'll keep checking to see that you can see all right with what I'm doing. So my friend's head is tilted a little this way as opposed to being straight up or to the opposite direction. So just kind of try to tilt it this way. So I'm going to be drawing her on this sort of diagonal axis, okay? So I'm going to draw a very light sort of line diagonal, okay? I have to keep that really light because I'm going to need to erase that, all right? So, and then I'm going to go ahead and begin with her forehead. All right, kind of coming around. Around the other edge of the face. Okay. Now I'll begin sort of delineating and deciding where about the eyes, the edge of the nose, the mouth, and the chin should go. If you put your eyes up too far, you're going to be cutting the forehead short. We don't want our eyes up here. Remember, you got a few inches of forehead above your eyebrow. All right. So you want to keep that in mind. So with that said, we might draw a line that goes almost halfway through from the top to the bottom of that oval that we use to represent the face. Okay, so from there, we want to take a look at the nose, the bottom of the nose. Some people have longer noses, some people have shorter noses. And sometimes it just depends. If I tilt my head back, try not to look at my nostrils, you can see that my nose looks shorter. If I'm looking downward, it looks longer, right? It becomes elongated, okay? It has everything to do with the tilt of the head, all right? And the position from which you're seeing the given face, okay? So I'm going to go ahead now and do sort of circular ocular, the ocular cavity, okay? And I want to make sure that I leave plenty of room for the bridge between those two circles that I just drew, here and one here, okay? And this is going to this will be the cheekbone, so the circle touches the cheekbone, it comes up and touches the eyebrow, okay? That's sort of what we're symbolizing and what we're going for. I'll darken them a little bit for you. Now you're going to want to continue to draw really, really lightly so that you can erase later on. All right? I'm just trying to get a little bit darker so you can actually see something here. Now, from there, based on where I drew these two circles for the ocular cavity, I want to have kind of a line that will represent where my bottom of my nose will belong. Okay? And from there, a line that represents maybe the mouth. Maybe I'll even give myself a little line for the lower lip, okay? So, can you see that? Looks a bit cartoonish, doesn't it? That's fine, because this is simply what we're going to build on top of. This is the plan, okay? Now, from here, I'm going to go ahead and give myself sort of a curved line to indicate where the eyelids are, okay? And then under that line and above where the cheekbone is, okay, I'm going to do a line in the opposite direction. So what I'm really looking for inside of here is doing a slightly darker version. So this is the ocular cavity, and within there, okay, that's sort of what we're going for. Now in this case, I'm going to keep this very general because she has a pair of sunglasses, well actually lenses that change in the sunlight, prescription glasses, so I'm going to draw those as well. Okay, now let's go ahead. I'm going to go on to the nostrils here, underside. Now, this particular pose, we're not seeing much of the nostril. It's just sort of implied, right? Again, it's all about the tilt of the head. So she's looking, just seeing sort of the top of the nose here, indicating the side of the nostrils right now. All right. Okay, now beneath the nose, beneath the nostril here, I'm going to outline very softly the shadow, because the light is coming from up above. It is casting a shadow below the nose, and it's coming from this side of my friend, and so the shadow will be going this way. on a diagonal. And the reason I'm doing this shadow is because it's a very strong shadow, and it's a very strong landmark, and it allows me to figure out where I want to place the lips. Okay, so what I'm doing is using a technique called sighting, called proportion. Okay, sighting is, you know, comparing things, comparing the size, the shape, the angles of things, and proportion is all about the relationship between one area or one object or one shape to another, right? Comparing and contrasting. So I'm sure you've had to do that in essays before. You have to compare and contrast something. What's similar? What's different, right? So an object can look one way when it's by itself, but you put another object in front of it, maybe something smaller or something bigger, and it changes the way that first object seems to be. So in proportion, we look at the placement of the eye, for instance, in comparison to the nose. We look at the size of the nose in comparison to the eye, or the lips in comparison to the nose, right? So we're comparing distance, width, length, the general shape, okay? That's what proportion is all about. So again, that's why I'm penciling in the shadow underneath that nose, because it's such a strong landmark, as I said a moment ago. Okay. And I'm looking for, again, the angles of lines, right? Very important, the angles of those lines. And if you're noticing earlier, you know, I drew these little registration marks, all right? Think of them as like a starting line and a finish line, right? So when you're running a race, you know, you have a starting line, a place where you begin, and then you take off from that point. And you run your race and you carry on until you cross the finish line. And so these are simply guidelines for me to continue drawing on top of. They set the pace, they tell me where to start, where to stop, what path to follow. And we build on top of those. Okay, again, proportion. Now I'm referring often to this photograph that's here in the background. What I'm looking at right now with the mouth is how far does the corner of the mouth extend? In most cases, it's going to be up to about halfway through the eye. So if I extend it all the way out here to the jawline, I'd be going far, way too far, okay? So I utilize the comparison of the eye, and I know that I have to stop somewhere about the midway point of the eye. All right, so I take that out. Okay, outlining, which later on I may get rid of some of the outlines around the mouth, because a lot of times mouths are more about shading than they are about lines. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and begin developing the chin. When I'm doing this, I'm really looking as closely as I can at not only the lines, but the shadows that define the area. Okay? At some point, I know I'll have to come back in and fix some things. That's okay. That's perfectly normal. All right. Now I'm going to go for the bridge of the glasses, those prescription glasses. Looking very carefully at the shape. I'm even going to go ahead and just draw a line across for the top of the glasses and the bottom of the glasses. Here's the center. Okay, compare the side of the face here and make sure that the sunglasses extend a little past the side of the face. Okay? Get a little bit of the edge of the ear. Okay, and then I'll come back in and maybe gently outline these shadows that make up the cast shadow from the glasses. Okay, I'm going to now come back in and start to outline her hair and beret, her hat that she's wearing. This photo was taken on a hike in late fall, a couple of years ago. Okay, and then I'll maybe outline her hair. Okay. All right, I'm going to end the video here for now, and we'll regroup in a second follow-up video where I can talk more about shadows, okay? So you'll want to get started with your linear drawing. Excuse my hands. Ooh, sorry. But here we go. Here's the linear drawing that I have so far. Okay, and we'll meet again and talk more about shading. Okay? Have a great day, guys. Hi, that's my thumb. Have a wonderful day, and I hope this video will be helpful for you. Feel free to pause it and continue as you need. Take it at your own pace. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.